Do you want a financially secure future, not just for yourself, but for your loved ones as well? This is Generations of Wealth, the podcast that breaks down the most effective wealth building strategies you can easily apply to your own life. Join investor and international best-selling author Derek Dombeck in exploring practical tips and sound advice on building a profitable business, creating a powerful brand, or getting into the thriving world of real estate investing. This is your chance to create your very own financial roadmap to live your vision, love your life. Let's begin this discussion with your host, Derek Dombeck.
Welcome to the Generations of Wealth podcast. I'm your host, Derek Dombeck. If this is the first time you found us, thanks for being here. If you're coming back time and time again, man, we appreciate you and can't tell you how much growing this community means to us. So today we've got an awesome guest. His name is Ken Singh, and Ken is actually the developer of an application called FlippBidd. And as we dive into this show, it's going to open your eyes. It definitely was something that I was just in awe over when I discovered it and we started talking about it. So before we bring Ken on, I just want to let everybody know, if you are following the show, please like it, share it, give us, 5-star reviews as often as you can. Go on to the Generations of Wealth Facebook page, join and interact with that community. We just really want to grow this for everybody. Also, if you are interested in learning more about our negotiations training that I put on called No Means Not Yet, or the Circle of Trust real estate investor mastermind that I host and run, you can check all those things out at thegenerationsofwealth.com or go direct to their own URLs, which is reicot.com. And with that, let's bring on our guest, Ken Singh. So I got to tell you, Ken, we were chatting before we started recording. I am just jacked to have you on the show today because I've been seeing, information about what you have going on for the last 30, 60 days. And I'll be honest, I didn't check into it. And so now, and I'm not going to let the cat out of the bag until we get to that part of the show, but thanks for having us. Thanks for having us. Thanks for being on my show, I should say. And we're not editing that out either. This is uncut. But Ken, tell the world a little bit about who you are and your background, and let's dive in.
Yes, sure. So, hey guys, how are you? Ken Singh here, founder and CEO of the FlippBidd application. As Derek mentioned, we are live on App Store and Google Play. My background's in software and technology. Got involved with real estate shortly after the market crash of 2008. I got my first. I got my beak wet with my first REO deal back in 2010. Again, a little bit just a background on myself. I'm a father of two, a 7-year-old daughter, and my youngest is going to be 1 next month. I'm sorry, this month. We're in July already. Geez. And I am a fiance of 1. I live out in Long Island. And as much as I like technology and software and real estate, I love my football on Sunday afternoons and mornings. So I am a Giants fan. For those of you who don't like the Giants, just turn off now. No, I'm just kidding. It's no, we have a good time. So I appreciate you having me on your show today, Derek. Thanks so much.
Absolutely. And I used to be a Giants fan when I was younger, back in the old days of Phil Simms and Lawrence Taylor. I was a big Giants fan, but I live in Wisconsin. We got to be Packer fans or we get thrown out and sent down to Chicago, and nobody wants to be a Bears fan. So
that's right. That's right. I mean, you guys enjoy your cheese hats that look cool. Like, that's great. You get a lot of airtime on the TV. We don't have anything like that. I mean, only thing we have close to the cheese hats are probably the big fingers that we hold up. Number one fan. So we're envious.
Well, people don't realize the cheese hats are made from foam, which is an insulator, and it's so damn cold, it keeps your head warm, because that's just what happens. Plus, there's a few adult beverages that are consumed during the game and tailgating. So, cheese hats can also double as something to throw up in if you need to. you know?
That's absolutely right. And I hold their whole can of beers pretty well in the little holes, so that works.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Man, so you got into real estate, but you were really a software guy, right? Like, what's your background?
Yeah, that's right, Derek. So a lot of people that don't, that know me, know my background history. Right out of college, I got involved with a software company. Nothing fancy. It was a customer service position, right? I wanted to go ahead and make sure I make my ends meet, just like everybody else does coming out of college, right? It was a customer support a position that evolved over time. And if I want to give, I'm going to give away my age. This was back in the days when we were sending out burned CDs for trials, so there was no cloud software out there. So we were actually mailing out those CDs for trials, and they would expire after 7 days. But yeah, that was back in almost 2000, and since then, my professional experience has grown into data-backed companies, as well as a lot of prop tech companies. Prop tech standing for property technology. And when I got my first, wind of real estate was a couple of years after the market crash. I got involved in an REO that a friend of mine helped me JV with him on, and we put some money together. We fixed it up and put it back on the market through a local realtor, and we were able to actually get 100% return on our money. So it doesn't sound like a lot, but when you're 25 years old, Derek, dumping $20,000 into something that you don't understand could be quite stressful, even till today's day. $20,000 is a lot of money. So we were able to get almost double our money back. Obviously, it was a lucrative enough deal that we were able to make that type of return on investment. But since then, the network grew. The and the taste for real estate grew. I always liked interior design. I like building things from scratch. I guess that's why I kind of built this application. I'd like to make it bigger and better and cleaner and faster, and it kind of works hand in hand with homes, right? You could build a home to something just very basic and standard, to all the way to multi-millionaire smart homes, as you guys know out there, depending on how much money you want to invest in it. But if those of you guys out there that are listening that love real estate just as much as I do, you can understand you can get very emotionally attached to it. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to take my love for real estate and my background in technology and build something really special for you guys.
Well, okay, so I got so many different questions because I'm not techie at all. Full disclosure, I had a business partner for 10 years up until recently, and he had the tech background, and I just let him, ran that show, and I did the other stuff, the people person type of stuff. So for me, it's been a challenge. He bought me out of our lending company, and we're no longer business partners. So when I see a new application, when I see, hell, if I got to switch to a new phone, it gives me hives because I hate the learning process. Once I learn it, then I'm all in, but I hate change. So when you started trying to, first of all, decide to even start an app, I don't know what that takes. I'm sure it takes a ton of work. But what was the reason, or what was going on in your world where you're like, there should be an app for this?
Great question. So you're absolutely correct. This application and the thought of this type of application really came from necessity. And that necessity was really based around how investors and wholesalers and real estate specialists in this industry were interacting with each other and allowing full transparency on deals, and also how people were communicating, right? And I caught myself finding out that when I created this network, I was getting deals, and I can't believe it still happens, but I guess it's needed, through companies like Constant Contact and MailChimp, and people are just bombarding and spamming people on Facebook and this and that of deals. These organizations, I mean, they're very good for marketing, but they're not real estate technology. It's not real estate centric. It has a broader need, right? And so I catch myself, and I'm sure a lot of your listeners can, this message resonates with them as well. I'm sure we all get bombarded with spam, We all do. Why? Because we put our emails out there, we put our phone numbers out there. I mean, today's day, which upsets me more than anything, somebody gets my phone and now they're creating WhatsApp chats with 300 people on there because they think they're just going to sell properties on WhatsApp, which beyond me is ridiculous. Nobody's investing 50,000, far less $1 million into a property because yes, they're multifamily homes that go for that much, right? Even commercial deals because someone added you to a WhatsApp chat or someone posted a picture on a Facebook channel and saying, "Hey, I got a great deal. Would you like to buy it?" Like that, it's just not real estate centric. So the idea really came from why is real estate one of those industries that's like so far behind the curve when it comes to like technology that we could put a man on Mars or a space station of some sort on Mars. We can go ahead and create this AI revolution. We can go ahead and do anything that we could think of, but we can't connect all of these micro communities across America and have them network seamlessly without hiccups and without like empowering them full of data and the right tools that they need to be able to communicate effectively acquisitions, dispositions, property research, and data without spending an exorbitant time on their due diligence on the buy and sell side. How come but I'll tell you why it hasn't happened. And the reason why it hasn't happened until now, is because a lot of people are scared of disclosing what they have. And what they don't understand it's a double-edged sword. If you are in real estate and you don't disclose what you have or market what you have in the right fashion and take a little bit of risk, because that risk happens on both of the buy side and sell side. So it's not only your risk, but if you don't disclose what you have, how are you going to get anywhere without disclosing or creating a network? Yeah, it's amazing. We go to all of these events nationally, right? We go to these conferences. We're connected to these mastermind groups, and we can network all day long and have a couple of drinks and beers with our colleagues. But guess what? How do you do that on a day to day, right? Do you spend thousands of dollars on airplane tickets every day, or do you do that using technology and make things happen for yourself?
Yeah, I mean, again, I've not dove into your app, so I can't say that I've used it, although I did download it before we started the show. And my goal in this show is to really tell everybody about what it can do, but also what can it not replace? Because I'm just being devil's advocate, right? I am a face-to-face, person-to-person, across the kitchen table, belly-to-belly, old school person, right? So what can the app do, but what can it not do?
What it can't do is do your work for you, at least not yet, right? Because we have AI that's coming. We can't have the work or the majority of the work done for you. You actually have to utilize the tools that are given to you. You have to utilize the resources that are given to you, right? Like the old saying, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink it, right? So what it can't do is do everything for you. What it can do, as I mentioned, is shorten your due diligence period when it comes to acquisitions, when it comes to dispositions, when it comes to networking, and when it comes to property research and data on the fly, saving you hours and hours of worth of work. So if you're a belly to belly type of guy, Derek, that's fantastic. You're in Wisconsin, but guess what? Maybe you're looking at a market somewhere in Clearwater, Florida. Are you going to fly down there every time you see a property?
No, 100%. And that's why I'm excited to talk to you about it, because that keeps myself and many others from not doing those deals, because we have that barrier. We don't have the time and or the money or whatever the excuse is.
Or the energy.
For sure. So I guess walk us through a little bit. Okay, we download the app. Take us step by step through this.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you like, I could share my screen and walk you through the application, see what it looks like as of today's day, or we could just discuss it. It's up to you.
Yeah, you can share your screen. Obviously, if people are just listening to this, we'll commentate as much as we can as we're going through the screens. But yeah, let's give her a try.
Oh, this is going to be a live demo, so I'm going to be walking you through it. So you'll definitely hear, as long as you can see it and you can hear me, you're good to go. So we're going to go ahead and give you on Derek Dombeck's show today, give you a real treat. And I'm going to walk you through this application in 5 minutes to show you the power of what a little bit of what it can do. Because if I go through the whole thing, we're going to kill the whole time. So let me share my screen here. Awesome. Just hide my control. So Derek, here you go. Let me know if you have a visual of my phone. I am going to be using an iPhone for today's purposes. The maps do look a little different from Google or Android than they do on iPhone. iPhone uses Apple Maps, which is a little bit more crisper, a little cleaner. And Google Maps, they are going to step up their game, but you're going to be powered by Google Maps. So here you go. Once we're here, we're in the application, and all I'm doing, guys, if you guys are listening out there, I'm just using my thumbs to maneuver around. So when you open the app, it kind of looks like this, and all I'm going to do is float around the world, right? And it's in real time. It's dark all the way on the east, and it will shadow as we go and progress throughout the day. So it's in real time. All of this is happening in real time. That's one. Two, what you're going to notice in the United States of America is a bunch of different icons and a little ID cards. Those are representative of verified investors that we vet, that we actually put on the map. So what does that look like? I'll give you an example of my buddy Bryce McKinley here. I know he's up and down Dallas. I know it's him because he's always around the Frisco area up here. And so when you click on this ID, you're going to see Bryce up there, our bud, right? Big advocate of the application. He's a verified investor, and right through the application, if you're a seller and you have a relationship with Bryce, you can sell him your deal by just clicking on the sell my deal button, putting in the property address, enter the price, enter the sale type. Is it a contract assignment, note, REO, short sale, straight deal, subject to wholesale? Leave a voice note up to 15 seconds and hit upload. Bryce is going to get notified in real time of a text that you just sent him a deal with the price and the information. Also, the app is going to notify him a new property was uploaded with a contract holder, because you have to hold the contract of sale to sell to our verified investors, because the problem is we don't want middlemen. Investors don't want to deal with middlemen, and the sellers don't want to deal with tire kickers. They want to deal with real principals. So that's one. And the second part about the application, as you see, it's ease of use. Like, you could just float around, Derek, from city to city. So what's a major city in Wisconsin? Let's go out.
Go with Milwaukee. That's the biggest one.
Well, of course. Well, I didn't think of that. Of course, Milwaukee. Okay, so we'll go to Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And here you go. We're in downtown Milwaukee, and we'll just check out some of the properties out there. Not a lot for sale just yet, but hopefully once we start hearing, from your feedback from your podcast, that you got a lot of listeners coming in that want to utilize the application. Well, guess what? Your users will have either addresses or wholesalers or properties of interest. You can literally use our one-touch feature, FlippBidd one-touch feature. Click on any property in Milwaukee. We'll pick this guy right here and click on the house. And you can do this, by the way, nationally. Request data. Oh, no data on that one. Is that a non-disclosure state over there?
It's probably different county by county. That's kind of why I chose Milwaukee. I figured it would be
okay. Let's
bigger.
go out. Yeah, let's go out to Sherwood. Let's see if we could pull some data on one of these properties. So let's see. How about this guy right here? Request data. No, you're not going to get data in Milwaukee. I wonder if it's a non-disclosure state. But if you do have an address and you want to go ahead and submit a property and sell a property, if we are not able to pull the data, you could still upload the property yourself by clicking on it, selecting it, hitting the request data, but you can add the property and sell it immediately. And once you upload the property with the pictures, the beds, the baths, the square footage, asset types, voice note, and upload the property, it looks something similar to this. And I'm just going to get out of Milwaukee for 1 second. And I'm going to go down to our southern friends in Florida. Let's go to, I don't know, West Palm Beach, for example, right? West Palm Beach. It'll navigate you to West Palm Beach, and we have a lot of wholesalers out there. There are selling properties, as you can see. When you float around the application, you'll see in the distant horizon, there's a bunch of deals for sale. Looks like maybe in the Miami area. But let's say you have a property out here in West Palm Beach that you want to pull and you want to dispose of, and you want to notify everybody, oh, that's a nice looking property. Let's click on that. You can go ahead and do the same thing by just pressing down your thumb, requesting the data. Here it is, 5 beds, 5 baths, 10,524 is a lot square foot. View the property. Here it is. Let's take a look on the street view. If that's yep, that's my property I would like to dispose of. Real nice. So what we do is we just take a screenshot. You don't have to do this because a lot of wholesalers have pictures and videos of their properties. I don't. I'm going to crop it, save to my photos, click the back button. We're back. Let's make sure the property information is there. Building square foot, lot square foot, property taxes, floors, the ARV high, average, and low. We provide you also 5 comps of pretty much every property in the nation. We are integrating commercial as well, office, retail, industrial by the end of the year. Mortgage data looks like Kane Baker and Mary Baker own this property. They closed on it in 2019 for the sale amount of $12.5 million. I don't blame them. That's a beautiful property. They got some equity in there. And foreclosure, they're in good standings. There's no judgment amount, no auction date or anything. And they have an agent, MLS history with Lawrence Means Associates. So we do pull up information. But here's the cool thing about this, Derek. Every time you visit a property on our application, whether it's for acquisitions, dispositions, or research, we also have a skip tracing feature. You can literally do this all day long to search properties and skip trace. And what happens is when you visit virtually a property in our system, it shows up in your My Business. So I'm going to click on my profile. I'm going to go to My Visits. And these are the properties I've already skip traced, but here's the one that we looked at. Flagler Drive, West Beach. You could actually select all, skip trace everything in your list and export it out to your email with the phone numbers and email addresses, or just select one for now, skip trace, hit OK. That property has been skip traced. You don't even have to leave the application after it's been skip traced to make a phone call or email if we have the email on records. In this case, we don't for public records, but we did manage to get 3 phone numbers and just hit the phone number and dial out and make a deal with that homeowner right from the application.
The only question I have on that is when it's skip traced, if they're on the do not call list, is that pulled out?
If they're on a DNC list, it wouldn't appear here.
Okay.
Public records.
Okay.
So when you appear on a DNC list, they take you off of public records. Like that's what they do. And so on here wouldn't say that. But again, you can make the phone calls directly from here as well as email addresses. So let's move forward. If I wanted to go ahead and sell this deal and say, look, this is my deal. And by the way, I have to delete this because every time we do a webinar and podcast and we do a demo, everybody in the application gets notified. And we actually received a phone call while I was in the middle of a demo once and the gentleman said, listen, I love this deal. I'll take it. So all you do is hit sell my deal, put the price in. Let's call it 1.25 million to make it expensive. So hopefully we don't get a phone call. It's a contract assignment. Let's take that picture I just took, attach it, leave a voice note. In the day and age of AI, which Derek, I see that you're not a big fan of tech or you're not too tech savvy. Even you can leave a voice note by just pressing the voice note button. Hi, my name is Ken Singh. I have an amazing property in West Palm Beach, Florida. The comps go for about $1.5 million. We have a contract assignment for 1.250. Connect with me on FlippBidd for more information via chat or call me directly on the app. Done. It's saved. Once I hit the verified investor button, I have to check I hold the contract to sale. That means I want to sell it to a principal only that's been vetted by the FlippBidd team, or I want to sell it to the entire network. I don't hold a contract. I'm a broker. I don't care. I had this deal from somebody, but I don't care if you're a buyer, seller, broker, agent. I don't care. Get me a buyer for this property. Once you hit the upload property button, you have to abide by our old state, federal, and local real estate law on top of our terms and conditions. But check this out. What happens? Once I hit the OK button, let's give it a second. It's going to upload, and it's probably going to send a notification out. You also probably just got a notification because you're on our app in real time. It's been uploaded with my voice notes with all the property data that we pulled. And when we go back, here we go. There you go. We have a little icon on the map. Imagine that happening hundreds of times a week from wholesalers and everybody getting notified in real time. But before I get that phone call, I'm going to do one thing. I'm going to go ahead and delete the property right from my controls. Look at that. I got a message already. let's go to my messages. Nice property. Let's make a deal. And that's it. And here we go. So that's how it works. And phone calls the same way. People will call you directly and you just pick up your phone when people are interested in your deals. And we've done something really cool on our application, Derek. What you guys call buy boxes, we created Find My Deal. That's our feature when you get a verified investor license on our application, free, by the way. There is a vetting process. You can click on this little icon and let everybody in our network know that Derek is looking for a single family because he's cash heavy right now. He's looking for an REO. He's looking to spend about $200,000 to $300,000. Let's call it a multifamily. You want to get involved in multifamily and in the state of Wisconsin. So let's go out to Wisconsin. So now if your users and your listeners, I should say, were on this application after listening to your podcast, which I'm positive is going to happen, and I hit the send request button, everybody is now going to get notified that Derek is looking for a multifamily, just like it says, a multifamily between $200,000 and $300,000 in the state of Wisconsin. As it says, everybody in the community was notified. And yes, everybody in the community was notified. So for now, Derek, that was a quick run through. I don't want to eat up too much of your time. I do want to go to my downloads and delete Flagler Drive because I don't want to get in trouble. And from here, you have your controls. You can share your property with your friends via text, via WhatsApp, via email. You can edit the property. You can delete it or mark it under contract. For now, we're going to delete it, hit OK, so we don't get in trouble because we're good, law-abiding citizens, and we're going to intend to stay that way. With that said, that's the application. Any questions? I know it's very, very new, but we did absolutely keep user experience in mind when we created this, Derek.
No, I mean that was really great to just run through it. I'm glad you shared your screen because it's one thing to hear it and another thing to actually see it while you're doing it live. That was really good, Ken. So I guess my questions now is you're trying to grow this and spread the word. Obviously, that's the whole point. The more users that are out there, the better it is for the entire community. So where are you at right now? And we're recording this show in July, and it's not going to be out immediately. So by the time everybody's listening to this, your users could be hopefully many, many, many times greater than it is right now. But when did you launch, and how many people do you have right now?
Yeah, so great question. So this is our third iteration of the application. We've been working on this for about 8 years. It started off just with a rinky-dink website. We kept growing it, making it bigger, faster, and stronger. Finally, the full marketable version we launched in mid-May. So we're about almost 2 months in. We've gotten about 1,000 downloads, a little north of 1,000 downloads over the last 2 months. We have, I would say on any given day, probably about 15 to 20 downloads a day that's happening. So it's growing. I can't tell you how many are active, but what I can tell you is we record on the back end how many people are using our FlippBidd one-touch feature to pull data, and it's definitely in the double digits every day that people are pulling all across the nation data, and we are actually incentivizing our wholesalers to be able to upload. Once you upload 2 properties, you get a full 30-day trial for free, no restrictions, no nothing. And by the way, we're doing a little bit of a giveaway, which you asked about earlier. Because we're so new, we're looking to give away 10 free licenses for the year. It's valued at $1,500 through App Store. But that $1,500 license is a $0 cost to you if you can upload 10 off-market private deals that doesn't have any MLS history behind it. So if you're a major wholesaler and you're listening out there, we're willing to give away a free 1-year license, 0 cost to you, for just simply uploading 10 off-market private deals. And what that's going to do, Derek, is it's going to create a flywheel effect. So on one side, we're bringing on the wholesalers, and they're really catching on to this thing. We got a lot of deals uploaded within a 2-month period. We're looking to bring on investors. We have about 70 already on our application nationally, and it's growing between now and end of the year. And by the time your listeners listen to this podcast, not only are we going to have a substantial higher number of properties, users, investors online, but we're also building a bunch of awesome tools and technologies like distressed skip tracing feature with our polygon search filter in any market in the city that'll basically do what we just showed you in skip tracing, be able to pin all distressed properties, pull them into your My Visits, and you can make all the phone calls and emails you like for those distressed property owners. And that's going to be live in 30 days. So we're growing. That's the answer.
Well, that's awesome. And I have been around this business since 2003, and to see what has changed in the 21 years I've been in this business, it's mind blowing, right? I mean, I bought my first properties out of the newspaper, and now we're talking about what did that take us? 2 minutes to put in a property, and it's populated, across the whole damn world, right? It's mind blowing to think what can happen in the next 20 years.
Absolutely. So I can tell you what's going to happen, and your listeners what's happening in the next year. Forget about 20 years. So we didn't even show this, but we have a little assistant. There's a button in the middle of the application that basically helps you navigate from city to city by just telling it to, hey, take me to this city and state. We're building out an AI feature which will basically allow the buy side and sell side, based on the ROI you're looking for. It'll say, hey, Flip, or we're thinking about giving it a new name. I'm not going to mention it just yet on live on air, but you could ask the assistant, which is going to be backed by AI, to find a property in a specific state and say, I'm looking for a $25,000 ROI based on this property, because it already has the address, it already has the ARV, it has the comps and everything, and the square footage of what it would take to renovate. I'm looking for a $25,000 ROI within a 6-month period. I'm looking to borrow about hard money at 85 LTV at a 12% interest rate. Submit an LOI, letter of intent, to the seller based on the number, the return on investment I'm looking for, and the application will actually send out a letter of intent to the seller based on that number.
Wow.
And on the sell side, the same thing. You can ask the assistant to actually upload the property at a number based on what kind of ROI the seller is looking for, based on an assignment, a wholesale REO, how much time you have, and how much time you're willing to keep it on the market and your holding costs, and what price you could position it at, so you don't waste time letting the property sit around based on certain market conditions.
And that's the key point where right at the end where you said certain market conditions, because everything is fluid and we don't know what's going to happen in election year coming up, right this November. And if somebody's holding out for last year's prices, by the time they actually sell it, their holding costs and everything else went through the roof, and they didn't end up making the profit margin they thought they would. So basically you're saying you can put the parameters into this, or you will be able to, and the AI will almost monitor what the market's doing, and to a certain extent give you advice on what you should be accepting for this property. Is that what I'm hearing?
It'll give you a suggestive number to upload the property, or suggestive number to submit a letter of intent for sale, for purchase of the property based on certain market conditions. Other variables like nearby listings, also variables such as how much work the property needs based on the square footage, and how quickly you would like to get that ROI. Correct.
Does it take into account the local MLS average days on market?
Yeah, because we are integrating now, and this is, I'm happy you mentioned that. We are integrating some really interesting reports with First American National Title's data tree. So we have virtual tours coming up in about 90 days that allows our users to basically on the fly get those reports. So, but we're capturing all that data from data tree. CoreLogic, we have our third meeting with next week. Let's see what happens. We met with the CIO and head of R&D in Dallas last week, 2 weeks ago. And of course, LexisNexis. For those of you guys don't know these names, these are some of the industry leaders in data. So we are able to capture all that information to give you some of the most pinpointed, direct, suggestive advice.
Perfect. So what does it cost for somebody? You mentioned a annual license for people that you're giving away, if they upload 10 off-market properties. What is the the small investor that's doing, one property every quarter versus the large wholesaler? What can they expect to spend?
Yeah, so we wanted to make sure we leveled the playing field for everybody, and we totally understand for every one savvy investor out there that does hundreds of deals a year, we have 1,000 new starting wholesalers or newbies, you would call them. And I don't really like using that word, but people that are new to the industry that are trying to get their feet wet with the industry. So we tried to keep the pricing low. It's free to download and use. We don't even ask for a credit card. You just go on App Store or Google Play and download it. But when you're ready to purchase, you make sure you click on Derek's URL, which he will provide you guys. It probably will be at some point below. When you click on it, it's going to be $99 a month for you, which again, based on all the features and functionalities we've shown today, it's not a lot. But with all the additional features and functions we are building out and the web app, it'll be about somewhere between $199 and $249 a month. But it's going to be an exorbitant amount of features alongside the virtual tours, distress skip tracing, the full property reports from DataTree, CoreLogic, LexisNexis, and the web app for your operational needs.
And the link is thegenerationsofwealth.com/virtual wholesaling. And so, Ken, as you build it out, if we come in right now and it's $99 a month, is there going to be increases in pricing as you add more features?
No, absolutely not. So we want to keep this as affordable as possible because we want to make sure that this is truly a tool that we are helping the real estate industry with, not just making our pockets fat. And by the way, we've been utilizing our own money for this. We have not raised a single cent. So we're very proud to say that we've developed something that's very much truly needed in this industry. So we're going to keep it at $99 with our affiliate link and your specific URL. If anybody out there that's listening, if you try to download it through the application, it's $125 a month. But with that special URL, you will get a 20% discount. We're going to keep it at $99 with all the additional features. With the web app, it'll be somewhere between $199 and $249. And that's going to be available in about 3 months from now, sometime around the holidays.
Perfect. I feel like you should get on Shark Tank, Ken, and tell the sharks that you bootstrapped your app and it's kicking ass. See if Mr. Wonderful gives you a hard time.
You know what? I think they're all giving me a hard time because I'll be honest with you, Derek, unless you're in this industry, and for those of you guys that are listening, I'm sure this is true for you guys as well. I didn't realize how big our industry was until about a couple of years ago. Yes, I was building this, but I didn't realize what kind of reach we really have in just the United States of America. Forget about overseas, right? There are so many people that are getting involved with real estate investments on a daily basis, whether it's on the buy side, the sell side, or real estate specialists, agents, and so on. It's mind-boggling. But guess what? No one else out there understands either, right? Whether it's Mr. Wonderful or any of the other sharks, you really don't know how scalable this thing is. And that's another reason why we're keeping the price point so low, because I believe with help with individuals like yourself and leaders such as yourself with podcasts and webinars and the admin groups of Facebook, that we can really become truly a successful application that's going to apply to all facets of this industry.
Well, I love it, Ken. It's really nice to be on the beginning side of this as well. Like for me personally, to watch it grow now, because again, I've seen some marketing and I didn't dive into it because that is the hard part. Even marketing a podcast like Generations of Wealth, right? Everybody, as you said, gets spammed all the time, and most of us just delete 98% of our inbound emails because we don't have time, or it's a solicitation for something that is crap. But the bad thing is, I'll be the one to admit it, right? FlippBidd, it was on my radar and I didn't pick it up. So I'm really glad that I did now and got to spend this time with you. And I really want everybody that's listening to this show, and this show is evergreen. So if this is 2-3 years from now, get your ass back and see what FlippBidd's doing at that time. But like I said, I bought my first properties out of a newspaper, and now seeing this is just mind blowing. It's awesome. It's really awesome.
Thank you,
So
Derek. Thank you so much. Yeah, and again, if you guys catch this podcast, a year from now, we don't know where we're going to be, but I'll tell you one thing: our mission and core values will always remain the same. Always have been, always will. And we couldn't do this without you guys out there. So thank you for listening, and we look forward for you to join our real estate investment community. The power really belongs to you guys, and we appreciate you.
that's really cool, Ken. I'm curious, how big is your team? Like what kind of a team does it take to build this out?
So it was primarily just me in the beginning, with my developers, and we went through about three different groups. They needed to see our vision. A lot of developers, remember, it's hard to present something that's coming from your brain, just your mind and your vision, being able to put it on paper and then seeing someone actually build it based on their, I guess, their professional experience and the quality of work. So we went through about three different development teams, but now we have developers that are overseas that are really, really very good at what they do. They have a nice track record of similar type of applications. I have a COO, which, by the way, we've been friends for many, many years. We kind of met around the same time before I got involved with the application and when that market crashed. His name is Phil Gustin. So Phil, if you're listening, big shout out. Thank you, bud. He handles my back end operations because we have a whole back end system that nurtures all of our leads and downloads, and we make sure we communicate with all of our downloads and our clients and community of users. Which, by the way, we have every Wednesday. I would love to have you there, Derek. We do a end of the month open mic night on Wednesday. I always ask, come as you are, bring your beers, your drinks, or whatever you're having, your beverage of choice. Let's get to know each other. So we have an open mic night. We have a BDR, business development rep, we just onboarded to reach out to wholesalers nationally. So we have a list of about 5,000 wholesalers that we need to reach within the next 2-month period. We have a creative designs guy who creates everything, as you see back here, like everything that he's designed, the UI, UX interface, and all of our ads. Am I missing anybody? I think that's it. That's really, and of course, Patrick Yepes, integral part of the team who is handling all of our marketing and expansion strategy. How can I forget about you, Patrick? And he's just an amazing human being. So he has his own operation, but that's it. It's a really small group, maybe 6 people.
Yeah, I'm familiar with Patrick. We've had several conversations, and he's a great guy. Great guy.
Amazing guy. But that's our team. We don't really need to be a big organization to do big things, and I think we're living proof. We really need, more so than anything, is just to get the word out there. So that's why we're on podcasts, amazing podcasts like this one, the Generations of Wealth podcast, and we're just going to keep on trucking, moving forward. That's it.
Well, I'm going to ask you one last question. I ask almost every guest is, and this can be about anything. What should I have asked you that I didn't?
What should you have asked me that you did not? Great question. I guess you didn't ask me, how I handle my family life and juggle, working 15 hours a day at the same time. Has that been easy on family and my significant other, and how I get to manage that on a day-to-day?
What's the answer?
So the answer is, a man can do phenomenal things when you have amazing support behind you. I've been through some not such happy moments with other significant others, but when you have the right person behind you, you can really take off to the moon. So my answer is, I juggle it because I have a lot of support, and my family absolutely loves me, and they see the vision clearly. Hasn't been the easiest in the beginning, but it's a lot more clear now. So I make sure I dedicate some time on the weekends for my family, which is important, so you don't have burnout. But again, support is the key.
Well, and when you're talking to a host that literally live your vision, love your life is our mantra, that is a big important thing and I'm glad that you brought that up, because it is easy to get caught up in work and what that can do to your relationships and your family life, certainly. So we may just have to have you back on in a few months and dive more into the vision side of that and what it was like to work on this for 8 years, and if you're willing, because that is, I see that so often, right? Like, people have this grandiose vision for a big business, but it screws up their vision for their personal lives.
Well, it's
And
not even the vision for the personal life. Remember, you take, and I would love to be back on, but because, and all of you listening out there, you're not alone, right? We've been through hurdles. This hasn't been an easy road. We've been through a lot of hurdles financially, emotionally, mentally. Things that broke, things had to get fixed, right? And you're trying to juggle everything, and sometimes you want to just give up, right? And nothing great ever came overnight, right? Rome wasn't built in a year, right? Neither was FlippBidd, neither was your podcast, Derek, and I know that, and it's growing and expanding. So that's a real thing for us human beings to be able to have a healthy work-life balance and still keep seeing, the fruits of your labor grow.
100%, man. I thank you so much, Ken, for walking us through FlippBidd and opening my eyes to something that I let slip past my nose. So everybody that's listened to this show, again, go to the generationsofwealth.com/virtual wholesaling. All the information that you need will be there. And I encourage you to spread the word to everybody as well. Start using the app, but then tell everybody else, because honestly, everything that I've seen over the years that started off as a good idea that failed because there wasn't enough users, and then it loses interest. People lose interest. So the more people we can get on FlippBidd, the better it is for all of us. And you got me convinced 100%. So
I'm glad. So Derek's drinking the Kool-Aid. I hope you guys do too. And honestly, we would love to have you be a part of our community. Thank you so much, everybody. I appreciate you listening. Derek, thanks so much. It's been great. Let's stay in touch, and look forward to coming back on Generations in the future.
Absolutely. So for everybody else, thanks for listening to this show. We'll see you next week on the next great show, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you for joining us on another insightful episode of Generations of Wealth. May your newfound knowledge help you in leveling up your own strategies to get through the many obstacles to your money-making processes and bring you much closer to the financially secure life you truly deserve. Continue filling up your accounts and further polish your financial tactics by listening to more episodes of the podcast at thegenerationsofwealth.com. Because in your wealth-building journey, there is no other way to go but up, giving you the chance to finally live your vision, love your life. That's all for now. See you on the next one.